Hey, what's happening there, guys? This is Steve here, and welcome back to Guns N' Roses. Now let's start off with the Glock 19, the so-called gold standard do-it-all pistol. Every dude on YouTube swears by it, but I'm telling you right now, there are far better guns in 2025. I've run the G19 for years, but side by side with what's out now, it's getting outclassed in just about everything, whether it comes to carry, shootability, and even in some cases, reliability. So today, we're gonna put 10 pistols up against it. And I'm not just gonna put out names, I'm gonna show you exactly where these guns beat the Glock. And for those of you who are diehard Glock fans, you may wanna stick around. Even if you think Glock is still the king by the end of this video, you'll certainly end up asking more questions the next time you visit a gun store. And so, without any further ado, let's get into it. Now, I know some folks are already typing, Glock 19's the king, don't touch it, but just hear me out for a second. I had a buddy down in Dallas who switched out his carry gun, and yep, he ditched the Glock 19 for this. The sick P320 Compact. At first, I didn't get it at all, but the more I spend time with it, man, it started to make sense. It's got a more refined feel to it, smoother in the hand, softer on recoil. The grip angle just feels more natural, and the thing that I didn't expect, the sights, bright, crisp, and easy to track. After a few mags, I started noticing stuff I didn't even realize I was missing. And here's the kicker, this thing's modular. You can pull the fire control unit out, drop it into another frame, compact, full size, whatever floats your boat. Try doing that with a Glock without a pile of aftermarket parts. You're looking at around $550 to $580 depending on the setup. So yep, definitely not a budget handgun, but what you're getting, it's premium where it counts. Now, I'm not saying Glock 19 is obsolete, but the P320 Compact, it's got some serious heat behind it in 2025. And wait until you see the next one. It's not even in the US, but it's punching its way above its weight. You ever shot something and immediately think, why the hell don't more people talk about this? Well, that was me with the CZ P10C. I grabbed it on a whim, honestly. It was just sitting in the corner of the gun shop like the kid that didn't get picked for dodgeball. Nobody was even looking at it. Took it to the range, ran a few mags with it, and I just stood there like, wait a minute. It didn't feel like Glock, it felt better. More locked in, less flip, and that trigger, I didn't even want to like it, but I did. Now don't get me wrong, it ain't winning any beauty contests, that's for sure. And half the folks on Reddit couldn't even tell you where CZ's from. But this gun, it just performs. No drama, no flex, just solid clean shooting every time, etc, etc. And here's what gets me. The P10C's been out for a while. It's not new, but somehow people still act like it doesn't exist. Maybe that's a good thing. Fewer folks that do know about it, it's easier for them to find one for just under $450. I've had Glocks that feel more expensive and deliver less, but with this, it's like CZ made a striker gun for people who shoot and not just carry and post online. Let's keep the ball rolling. The next one is fresh off the line and came in hot. Too hot, maybe. Now here's one that isn't trying to compete, it's trying to rewrite the rules. The Springfield Echelon. Alright, another striker-fired gun in the market that's already overflowing, but after I got my mitts on it, totally different story. This isn't just another polymer Glock clone. First of all, let's talk about the optics system. That variable interface system, it's not a gimmick. No plate, no stack of adapters, just drop the red dot in and have at it. It's about time someone did it right. Glock's still making people buy extra crap just to mount a dot. I mean, come on now. Now the Echelon's trigger, everybody's probably saying crisp break and all that nonsense, but this one, it's honestly one of the best stock striker triggers I've ever run in a while. flat-faced, no grit, and the reset's right where you want it. Shooting it? Man, it's balanced. It just runs smooth like my truck after a fresh tune-up. One of my buddies down in Amarillo dumped 4 mags through it and looked at me like, dude, this thing might be too easy to shoot. And the grip? Modular. Kinda like 6 setup, but tighter. I know some folks roll their eyes when they hear a modular, but here, it actually makes sense. Different frames, different hands, just works out. Pricing's around $620 to $650 depending on the model. Not bargain bin cheap, but if you want Glock competition that feels like it came from the future, this baby is it. And stay tuned, the next one's gonna stir the pot with Glock fanboys for sure. Alright, now I'm gonna be straight with you, dramatically speaking. I did not expect to like this one, but the first time I picked up the Walther PDP Compact, it felt like it was just built for my hand, like actually designed for human hands, not just tested on some plastic dummy. The grip texture feels like sandpaper, but in a good way. Not slippery and also not rubbery, just right. I was sweating buckets last summer shooting in Houston, and this thing never slipped once. That trigger is clean. No sponge, no slack. Breaks like a bone, no click-clack. It ain't showy, but it's tight and mean, and shoots so smooth, you'll know what I mean. Compared to a Glock, this trigger's just better, period. And yep, red dot ready right out of the box. Slap a Holosun on, zero it, and you're ready to roll. That's where Glock's been dragging its feet. Walther is built for the future, not the past. Recoil? Practically nothing. I had to double check the footage after the first mag, and I thought my camera just glitched. Yep, it's just that flat. Look, I'm not trying to say that you should ditch your Glock 19 right away, but once you shoot the PDP Compact, you might just start leaving that Glock right at home. Now here's a spicy one, the Canic TP9 Elite SC. Every time I bring it up, folks split right down the middle. It's Turkish blood, so I'm out, or it's the best value on the market, period. And I get it, Turkey's not exactly known for world-class handguns, but Canic, they've been flipping that script. The trigger on this thing, it's better than what Glock gives you right out of the box by a long shot. Honestly, side by side with the Glock 19, you'll start wondering why you're paying more for less. Optics ready slide, solid ergos, and decent capacity. It checks all the right boxes at a price that makes you do a double take. I'm gonna be real with you, even I was skeptical at first, but I carried the Canic TP9 Elite SC for a stretch just to see if it could hang, and man did it hang. Ran clean, felt good in my hand, and I didn't feel like I was giving anything up switching from Glock. That says a lot because I don't change things that often, but this one, it earns its spot. Still, some folks won't trust it just because of where it was made from, which is fair enough, but performance-wise, this little guy punches way above its weight. Now here's one that surprised me for how much I kept reaching for it, the Shield Plus, just the regular polymer one. I know it ain't the flashiest thing on the shelf, but boy oh boy, it's one of the easiest guns I've ever carried. Slim, reliable, and that trigger, better than you'd expect from Smith & Wesson. Real crisp break, short reset, and no weird mush in between. I ran this thing through the ringer, Texas heat, daily IWB carry, fast draws at the range, and it never once gave me grief. Even when I forgot to clean it a couple of weekends in a row, still ran clean. Now some folks online complain about mag capacity, but 13+1 in a frame this thin, that's plenty. And if you've got the flush mag, it disappears in a t-shirt. I own it, I love it, I carry it daily for self-defense. Now does it beat the Glock 19 at everything? Nope, not exactly. But for carry comfort, concealability, and price, it hits where Glock doesn't. Not everyone needs a full-sized blocky frame running on their belt all day. Not saying it's gonna outshoot a full-size steel frame, But for everyday carry, this thing just makes sense. No drama, no nonsense. You can find one around $399 to $499 depending on night sights and if you go optics ready. For that price, it's a working man's carry gun. Stick around though, because the next entry, well, let's just say it was hated when it dropped, but now people are giving it a second look. Mamma mia, here I go again. Not many can appreciate the timelessness of ABBA music, but that's what popped into my head when I picked this thing up again after years of brushing it off. The Beretta PX4 Storm Compact Carry is one of those pistols folks either love or never even notice. But here's the thing, it's nothing like a Glock 19. This one runs a double-action, single-action setup, has a rotating barrel instead of the usual tilting one, and the recoil control, it's smoother than most expect. That barrel twist actually works. First time I ran it, I thought it'd be clunky, but once I got used to the trigger transition and the weight, it felt locked in. One guy from my range, ex-Navy by the way, swears by this thing. Says it's the only carry gun he's trusted that's never given him slide bite or stovepipes. It's got some bulk, sure, and the decocker setup isn't for every shooter out there, but if you're used to striker fired, this gives a whole new feel. More control, better follow-ups, and just something different than the sea of polymer. Now a Glock 19's easier to run out of the box, sure, but the PX4 gives you more control once you learn it. It's got that old-school discipline that the Glock's missing. It runs around $699 to $750 depending on where you're shopping, and you probably won't find it front and center in stores, but that's just the point. It's not trendy, it's proven. By the way, you wouldn't happen to be a fan of ABBA. Isn't it kinda nostalgic, wishing we could bring those days back? Anyway, stick around though, because the next one, no fancy accent, but it's earned some serious scars out in the real world. Now here's something that's built like it means business. The FN509 Compact isn't too much hyped. No weird iterations, no gimmicks. It looks like it was built in a garage by folks who've seen real trouble, and I respect that. I've seen more holsters around Texas holding this thing than some brands see in their entire life cycle. A sheriff in Waco, for instance, swears by it. One of my buddies runs armed security down in San Antonio. He's on a second 509, by the way. And my old range partner, 20,000 rounds deep and 0 failures worth mentioning. Now let's not sugarcoat it. The trigger's nothing fancy to write home about. Bit of a wall, bit of a grit. But you're not buying this for trigger feel. You're buying it because it works when it's hot, dirty, or raining sideways. I've shot mine with a steel case junk that sat in my trunk for months and it still runs fine. That kind of reliability isn't sexy, but it matters. And the recoil? Pretty surprising. It's not featherweight soft, but it stays level. No crazy flip, no wandering front side. Just up, down, repeat. This isn't the gun for your build-a-wall hanger crowd. This is for folks who carry, not for show, because they might actually need it. No slogans, no influencers, just a pistol that works. If the Glock 19 feels like the safe bet, the 509 Compact feels like the one you take when things get rough. At number 9, let's slow things down a sec and talk redemption. The Taurus GX4 XL. Now I'll be straight with you. I gave up on Taurus a while back. That G3C jammed so hard, I started calling it the range day ruiner. Feeding issues, weird trigger resets, light strikes, put simply, it was just a miss. And I wasn't the only one. A couple of buddies just gave up entirely. But the GX4 XL had me rethinking everything. They actually listened this time, cleaned it up, slim profile, optics ready, improved trigger, and all of that just for under $350. That longer slide helps soak recoil too, shoots flatter, and feels tighter. One guy at my range, 800 rounds in, still no issues, said it outperformed his shield for him and that ain't nothing. I ran mine through a full weekend session, 400 rounds mixed brass and steel. Not a single hiccup, not even a dirty trigger pause, just smooth cycling the whole way through. The balance is what gets me. Microframe, but the XL slide gives it a grown-up feel, like it finally graduated from the bargain bin and got serious. I remember one guy from Corpus who laughed when I offered this gun to him. 2 max later, he was asking where to buy one. So yep, if you wrote Taurus off years ago, I get it, it's not your fault. But don't sleep on this one. The GX4 XL might be the redemption story nobody saw coming. Now this here is the Ruger American Pistol Compact. Not popular, not hyped. You won't even hear folks chatting about it at the barber shop. But let me tell you, this sleeper's been showing up when it matters. The recoil control is solid. Trigger, surprisingly tight for a Ruger. Grip feels right too. Doesn't try to be fancy, just sticks and does its job. I remember taking this thing out behind my buddy's ranch in dusty, windy, and rough weather. And the first few mags ran smoother than I expected. No jams, no hiccups, it just worked. This ain't some legacy revolver from Grandpa's drawer. It's a duty-minded polymer handgun built tough. No light cuts, no trendy buzzwords. Just a solid build made for folks who don't care what's hot on Instagram. I've seen it go up against some bigger names out the range and hold its own. It's the kind of gun you buy on sale and somehow end up trusting it with your life. Might not look like much, might not sound exciting, but this Ruger, it's the quiet type that does the work and doesn't ask for the price. And sometimes that's exactly what you need. So yep, the Glock 19, still solid, but let's not act like it's untouchable. I've carried and trusted one, but these days, there's a whole lineup of pistols that do more, feel better, shoot cleaner, and don't carry that same tired name tag. The truth is, the world moved on and Glock just didn't notice. So don't buy into the hype. Shoot whatever works for you, which might be a Walther, a CZ, and even a Ruger that nobody talks about. Either way, don't let old habits pick your next carry gun. This here has been Steve, and if this video made you rethink your Glock love affair, then my job is done. That's exactly what I intended with this video. Do stick around, because we're just getting started.